If you've ever walked away from a podcast guest interview that you were on and felt like, oh, that was so good. I was on fire. It's going to be so good. I can't wait for it to go out. But then you get no leads, get no clients, just like no action. It's so deflating, right? The problem, though, is not your expertise. It's because knowing what you do is one thing and clearly communicating it in a way that the audience understands and converts is another. And so maybe you believe in one of these myths. Oh, I already know what I talk about. I already know my expertise. I'll just wing it. If I just need to show up, right, and share value, and the right people will find me. They'll go to my website. Or I don't want to be scripted. I really want an organic conversation. So it's not about what you know. It's about how clearly and strategically you communicate it to others so they understand, remember, and take action. I'm Lyndsay Phillips, the founder of Podcast Conversations That Convert. And today I'm going to share with you 4 clarity checkpoints for communicating your expertise effectively. So before I dive in, I want you just to shift your mindset a little bit. It's important to view guest interviews differently. View each conversation as a bridge to profits. And what I mean by that is what you talk about and how you talk about it should create this bridge between the audience's pain, what they struggle with, their problems, and your offers. And so let's backtrack to the beginning in a way, because as a guest, right, you have topics. They're on your one sheet. You have a media page. You give a topic to the host. It's not enough, right? You need interview questions to guide that conversation so that the conversation is not super random. Have you ever been on those shows where they ask you questions all over the place and you leave the interview thinking, I didn't even get to talk about my expertise. Like, how are people even going to know what I do? So interview questions are really important. It's almost like your conversation compass. It guides the host, and then you want to have strategic talking points, obviously, to go with it. So that's what we're going to dive into now. And you want to write out your answers. I know it sounds painful and like long and drawn out, but these answers, it'll help you be so much more clear and concise. I call these talking points message papers because it's kind of like those little stepping stones that are taking you over that bridge, right? It's guiding the listener from their pain, where they want to be, and seeing you as the solution, like how you can help them get them there. And so they're not just bullet points. They're designed to position, differentiate, and convert. So these pavers your talking points, right, should help the audience feel seen, shift their perspective, understand exactly what you do and how you can help them. And also, you want them to know what to do next. And so I love co-creating this stuff with my clients so that they're not hoping that their message lands, right? They're making sure it does. Not saying you have to be scripted. You can still have an organic conversation, but you're no longer winging it. You will be more clear. You'll be concise. You'll be strategic. And honestly, you're going to sound so much more confident. So when you're writing out your talking points, I want you to consider these 4 clarity checkpoints for communicating your expertise effectively and obviously for conversions. The first one here is, are you talking about the problem and the pain? Some guests make the mistake of skipping that. They just dive right into the tips and tactics and value. It's not bad to give all that value, trust me, but you do want to give as much value as possible, yes. But the audience, though, they're not being hooked into the conversation. They can't self-identify, relate, or see how this conversation is going to pertain to them. So they're not going to be compelled to keep listening. You want them to nod along, say, oh, yes, oh my gosh, that's totally me. I hate when that happens. And you want to talk about the problem from their perspective. You know, what they're feeling, what they're experiencing, what are the words that are going through their head. If you use that language in your interview, they will relate and they will be hooked in because they'll want to hear the solution. And it's not until you finish doing that, then you can talk about like what the real problem is, right? From your perspective, people may think this is the problem, but really the problem is this. And then, of course, how you solve it. So you just want to make sure that you cover the audience's pain using their language so that you are connecting with them and compelling them to listen. Number 2, are you sharing a tactic or framing the full transformation? So when you share your overarching solution or the big picture, the audience can better understand your expertise in the areas that you help your clients. They see what's possible. When you only talk about a single tactic or a narrow result, the audience only sees one small piece of what you do, and that can be super misleading. They might think, oh, she only helps with pricing. I don't need that. Or, oh, he's only about social media. I don't really need that right now. But in reality, right, like your work likely addresses deeper patterns, broader strategies, multiple phases of transformation, more than the one small thing that you're talking about on the episode. So it's super important to frame your expertise as a part of a bigger solution, right? Like give them context. So a client of mine, she is a profit coach and uses like Profit First. And so one of the things that she says is, oh, this is one of the 12 areas I help clients optimize to increase profit. So she says, oh, I've got 12 pillars. Today I'm sharing 3 of them. So then people are like, oh, like, okay, she's going to share these tips in these 3 little areas, but there's so much more that she could unpack. There's so much more knowledge that she has in that she can help me. And so you instantly expand how your audience perceives your value, and they start to see the depth and the method and the bigger picture. And again, you're not teaching all of it. You're just positioning it and sharing like, oh, you're giving context, right? I'm going to share this one small stepping stone as a part of this bigger framework that I have. It also builds trust. It builds authority, and it makes the audience curious about the rest and what else you have to offer. So it's almost like explaining and showing the pie, but then they're tasting a piece of it. Number 3, are you seeding your programs and the results you bring? Man, so many guests struggle with this part, and so did I, trust me, because you don't want to sound salesy. You don't want to feel like you're rhyming off a testimonial. You don't want to feel like you're tooting your own horn. It can just feel super awkward, right? But you can do it in a way where it doesn't sound salesy, right? It's like how you talk about it. You want their curiosity to be piqued. You want them to be aware of your products and services and picture what it's like to work with you. And by painting a picture and sharing the results that you're getting for your clients, it's like instant credibility. Because your most powerful conversion tools are not facts. They're emotionally charged, story-driven sound bites that make your message unforgettable. These moments create connection, they build trust, and they guide the audience from pain to possibility. So share stories to illustrate your points. Give examples. I call these story sound bites. They don't have to be long, but you do want to write those out so that you can practice saying it, right? So it just rolls off the tongue super easy. You want maybe share a turning point in your client's journey. What shifted them? What result did they get? Because facts tell and stories sell. And I'll give you an example. So one of my client story sound bites is sharing how a client had no idea she was losing money hand over fist. due to leased trucks in her home service business. She just saw it as another expense, right? And then after, we worked on the debt awareness tool and the profit amplifier program, her jaw just dropped. She didn't realize she was spending $40K in interest. And after we created a debt repayment plan, she not only paid off the debts, but was actually able to save money, put it aside so that when she had to buy trucks in the future, the money was already there. Can you imagine? So obviously the audience is like, dang, like I want that kind of result. Or how much money am I spending on interest? So those kinds of stories are so impactful. Again, seeding your programs, letting people hear how you work and what's possible for them. Because they start seeing you as the solution and what options there are to work with you. They don't just see you as someone who, oh, they gave me a few good tips today. Okay, moving on. And number 4, are you differentiating yourself or are you blending in with your competitors? If you want to stand out and be seen as a go-to expert and not just another guru or coach, you need to name your brilliance. So I'm sure you do amazing work. Most experts do. But if they're describing it in a way that is like the same language that everyone else is using and it's generic, like, oh, I help people shift mindsets, or I guide clients to confidence, or I support their business growth. I'm sure it's very helpful, but it's super forgettable. It doesn't stand out against the competitors, and it's kind of vague and generic. So when you name your method or framework or process, you instantly elevate how people perceive you and value you. It shows you've refined your expertise, you've got a repeatable proprietary system, you're building trust, you're building authority and differentiation, right? It moves you from just another service provider to, oh, she's the creator of the breakthrough belief method or the founder of the clear profit system. I just made those up, so whatever they are. And of course, you would rather, right, work with someone that is the creator of the breakthrough belief method versus helping me with my limiting mindsets, because you really feel like they've got that perceived value. They've got structure and you stand out, right? It signals that deeper system behind the value that you're sharing. It's not just clever labels. It's showing that your process is intentional, it's proven and results driven. And so even if you're only sharing one step or principle in the interview, framing it and positioning it as a whole, again, that kind of ties together, right? Really makes a difference. And it sounds more powerful, and they are more inclined to want to reach out and work with you and hear more. So after reviewing these 4 clarity checkpoints, you can strategically craft your messaging papers or talking points to position yourself as an expert, connect with the audience with the pain points, and guide them straight to your offers. I hope that was helpful. And of course, reach out to me anytime. I'm happy to answer any questions and support you in your podcast guesting strategy.